Hello there, YouTube. How the hell are you? My name is Vac, and we're here today to continue our series on the classes of Crowfall. And we're going to do that by taking a look at another classic fantasy archetype, the Ranger. The Ranger of Crowfall is about what you'd expect, and that's not a bad thing. The promotion classes hold a few surprises, but we'll get to that in a minute. With a toolbox that includes a number of ranged attacks, melee attack chains, traps, and self buffs, this is a class with a wide range of options. Their ranged attacks are very strong and come in single target, chain attack, and area of effect varieties. The one drawback is that the Ranger consumes ammo, and you'll have to get used to chopping some trees and crafting your own arrows. Still, this is a minor inconvenience at worst. With such a diverse toolbox of skills, the Ranger is a fun class to play, and in my experience, a little downtime crafting is a very normal part of the game, and it's something you'll just end up doing while you do your cooking. So let's have a look at what races can play the Ranger. So here we are at character creation, and we can see that there are 5 races that can play Ranger. And those are the Elkin, the Half-Elf, the Human, the Minotaur, and the Wood Elf. So let's have a quick discussion of how these races line up for what you want out of a Ranger. Starting with the Elkin. The Elkin immediately have one of the more interesting racial abilities in that they have an increased range cap. So as an Elkin Ranger, you'll be able to fire just a little bit farther than other Rangers, which, especially considering that many of the builds that you'll put together for a Ranger will rely on range and kiting. This can be very strong. On top of that, the Elkin are strong and tough and gain bonuses to strength and constitution right off the bat. And they have a very good dex cap, even though they don't have any bonuses to it initially. Nearly everything that you're going to be gaining or wearing as a Ranger is probably going to add dex. So they'll have a good high cap for you to shoot for. So this makes Elkin pretty much a great choice all around. I think this is a very strong race to play Ranger, no matter what build of the Ranger you intend to go after. They'll do well. They'll do well in range. They'll do well in melee. It really doesn't matter. So next up, we have the Half-Elf. The Half-Elf does start with a good dex bonus, so that will be a plus on their beginning when you get to character creation. But they have very average caps. So once you get to the point where you've got good gear, and especially when you get to upgraded vessels, this race just is not going to cap out as high as others, and it will start to kind of fall off the map. The additional minor discipline is always a nice bonus, but I don't know that it's going to make up for the average stat caps. So in my mind, this is just kind of an average or so-so choice for playing Ranger. Next up is Human. Human has no bonuses to dex and also has average caps. They have the same extra minor discipline that Half-Elf does, but other than that, there's really not a lot to recommend them. So I think this is kind of a middle of the range, kind of lower end choice for playing Ranger. I think the Half-Elf is marginally better because of the bonus dexterity to start. And I really just can't recommend Human, to be honest. So moving on, there's the Minotaur. The Minotaur is an oddball choice for this class, but it does make sense in some niches. So the Minotaur does gain a dex bonus to begin with, and they'll do fine in that regard. They have very high caps for melee statistics like strength and constitution. They're tough. They're immune to stun. This is really a decent choice for any Ranger, but it's a very good choice for any kind of melee build that you might intend to put together, which is a very real possibility with the Ranger, and we'll get to that in a minute. So lastly, we have the Wood Elf. They gain no applicable bonuses to any statistics starting out. They have an okay dex cap, slightly above average, but they have low strength caps. Really not a lot to recommend this race. The camouflage ability is somewhat interesting. This is a stealth that is it works only when you stand still, and it's okay. That's a decent enough thing for a sniper type build to have. But on the whole, I got to put this as an average or below average choice for race for the Ranger. I really feel like an Elkin or a half elf or a Minotaur is a better choice. So there you go. But I mean, none of these choices are particularly gimped. It's just that some are going to cap out sooner than others. So there's really no, there's no gimp here. Like I say, just pick the race that appeals the most to you and get out there and enjoy your Ranger. So let's have a look at what promotion classes can be chosen by the Ranger. The Ranger can choose from 3 promotion classes. First, the Archer. This is the full range DPS build of the Ranger. With increased damage on their ranged abilities as well as a few additional ranged abilities, this is the classic Ranger. Upgrading from stacks of arrows to a proper quiver, they gain access to the recurve bow, as well as additional range over the other promotion classes. Best of all, they can charge all ranged abilities without a movement penalty, making this a run and gun specialist. Combine that with the increased range they get, and this class becomes a kiter's dream. Second is the Warden. The Warden is a bit of a generalist. They gain access to quivers and the recurve bow, much like the Archer, and they do have several ranged abilities buffed. However, they also gain some new melee abilities and get buffs there as well. Lastly, they are the only Ranger subclass to get mail armor, as well as some defensive buffs to go with it, making the Warden the tankiest option by far when playing Ranger. Their dagger spin gets suppress added to it, and their passive ability buffs damage on dagger spin, making it a bigger part of their toolbox than the other 2 subclasses. Lastly, there is the Brigand, which you've been seeing here. This is a melee stealth build for the Ranger. Foregoing quivers and the recurve bow, they instead gain stealth and the option to use a wider variety of melee weapons. Using an ambush ability from stealth and increased damage to attacks from behind, the Brigand plays a lot like a classic assassin or rogue. They gain additional melee attacks and a number of damage buffs, but their true Ranger nature shows out with a serious focus on traps, which they use to greater effect than the other subclasses. This is an interesting build that arguably does Assassin better than Assassin does. Relying on stealth, surprise, and strong melee ability, they can still put a few arrows in your back if you try to get away from them. So, there we have it. The Ranger is a strong class with a variety of playstyle options. I don't think there's anything here to disappoint Ranger enthusiasts. In fact, there's definitely a few tricks and tools I was not expecting. So get out there in the RBR zones and enjoy your Ranger. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. So that will conclude our look at the Ranger. If you like what you saw in this video or maybe learned a little something, we'd appreciate it if you could give us a like or a subscribe. That helps us grow and get more eyeballs on the channel, and man, that'd just be awesome of you. If you'd like to get more reliable alerts on these videos and live streams, you can join our Discord community and just hang out with other like-minded Crowfall players. There is a link in the description below. And if you'd like to join our guild Reckoning and find some cool people to hang out with, there's a link there as well. Also, there's a link if you'd like to support the channel, but mostly we just love it if we can get that like or subscribe out of you. So until I see you guys again, be cool, keep gaming. I'm Vac. I'm out of here.